there's a bunch of steps that ultimately lead us to a place that that we want to get to right away, but there's all these steps in between, where we start and where we finally end up. And so often that's like that, right? So we're kind of like, Lord, why don't you just, tell me right now exactly what's going to happen, or tell me right now where I need to go, or what's going to happen, or, what the address of the house is. Just let me know. And the Lord's like, you know what? Chill. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to enter the city, and there's going to be a guy there with a pitcher of water. And you're like, really? So what do I do with that? Well, you need to follow him. For what? Because then you'll get to the master's house. Okay, and what do I do when I get there? Then you ask the master with regard to the upper room. And so there's this process of following the Lord's instruction by faith, right? At any point in that, you could be like doubting what the Lord is telling you, right? You could be like, if we start following this guy with a pitcher of water, I don't know, he's going to think we're stalkers or something. Why would we do that? Or, when we get to the master's house, isn't he just going to kick us out? I mean, why would he let us use his upper room? And so there's all these places where you could question God. Does this sound vaguely familiar at all to you guys? Right? Where he gives you an instruction, you're like, what's that going to do? You want me to do what? You want me to forgive? No. Why would I forgive this person? What's the reason behind forgiving this person? Nothing's going to come out of it. What's that going to lead me to? Is that going to really lead me to anything? Love your enemies. No. What? That doesn't make any sense, right? Why would I do that? And so there's all these different things. I'm going to beat this technology. I'll just repeat myself. But basically, it's like we do that. And here's this perfect picture of how you and I need to walk by faith, not by what? Right. Because when we use our eyes, we're like, this don't make no sense at all. Right? But when we use our heart of faith, then we're like, you know what? I don't really get it. I don't really understand this instruction from the Lord, but I'm going to follow him by faith because I know that if I do, it'll lead me to that perfect place that he wants me to be. And so here's that perfect picture of that as these guys are like, walking and by faith and following the Lord's instruction to a T. And so because of that, they find this place where they can actually prepare the lamb, and they can actually partake of the lamb together. Verse 14, when the hour had come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him. Then he said to them, with fervent desire, I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say to you, I will no longer eat of it until it is fulfilled in the kingdom of God. Then he took the cup and gave thanks and said, take this and divide it among yourselves, for I say to you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes. And so here is the Lord now that is really alluding to the fact that he is going to be the Passover lamb that needs to be slain, right? And so as he kind of lays it out, before I suffer, and of course he's talking about, the suffering on the way to the cross and the suffering on the cross. And so before I suffer, I want to have this last meal with you guys. And you can catch that love of the Lord that just, wants to spend this, last moment with his disciples. And he's saying, I'm not going to, be able to do this again, until the kingdom is established. And he points even past his death and resurrection to the fact that there will be a day when the Lord actually establishes his kingdom on earth, right? There will be a new heaven and a new earth. And are we kind of looking forward to a new earth? Right? Especially right now, right? It's like, this earth is messed up, right? And you could pick a subject, right? The virus, global warming, whatever. Division in our country, racism, all this stuff. It's like, can you come now and just fix all this, right? That would be a really, really good thing to do. But it is going to happen. And so he alludes to all of that as he kind of lays all of this out with his disciples. Probably one of the most amazing things about this scene is the fact that, of course, he washes the disciples' feet. But the other thing is that he's actually breaking bread with everybody there, including Judas, right? Iscariot, the one that actually betrays him. And that's very, very significant because as we just saw, the Lord has, foreknowledge, right? So he knows that there's going to be a man that's, walking the city with a pitcher of water. And so he knew all of that stuff. And he knew the master would actually offer him the upper room. And so he had all of that, in his mind already because he knew. So here is the same kind of thing with regard to Judas. It wasn't like he didn't know he was going to betray him, right? In fact, he actually says, he who dips in the bread is the one that's going to, dips his bread is the one that's going to betray